Revolt is a racing video game designed by Paul Pippin and Simon Harrison. It was developed by Acclaim Acclaim Studios London and published by Acclaim Entertainment Incorporated for the Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, and the fucking PC. The premise of the game involves racing radio-controlled cars around environments like museums, steamships, construction sites, and supermarkets. During a race, the cars can collect random weapons to use to displace competitors. Cars and tracks were both unlocked through the success of the game's tournament modes. So, how good is this game? Well, let's take a good look at it. Get into it. Okay, so looks like we're going to start with the fucking game modes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 game modes to start with. So we're going to start with the single race. It allows the player to race against computer opponents for first place. Competing races associated with a cup unlocks one new car. This game mode is available for multiplayer mode for up to 4 players to race against each other. Alright, the championship mode is racing in a cup, which consists of 4 races for points. The higher the rank, the more points earned. However, the player is required to finish in 3rd or better to advance to the next race. Failing to do so costs a try, and after 3 tries have depleted, the championship ends. Obtaining first in a cup unlocks additional levels and cars. And time trial is the game mode lets the player compete for the fastest lap time in any race that is unlocked. Beating a challenge time of tracks associated with the cup unlocks reverse mirror and reverse mirror variations of those tracks. Practices allows the player to explore tracks with no time limit or other racers. In addition, each track features a star to collect. Collecting each star from a track associated with the cup unlocks 2 new cars. And the Stun Arena is a small one, features 20 stars to collect. The arena features a loop, ramps as well as half pipe with stars that can only be obtained with higher performing cars. Collecting all 20 stars unlocks a game mode. Yeah, unlocks a game mode. Battle Tag, a multiplayer only mode that features a star hidden on the battle level. Collecting a star counts down a timer for a player. The first player to have their timer reach 0 is the winner. The game continues until the last person fails to collect a star. Clockwork Carnage. Instead of 8 RC racers racing to the finish, it is a 30 wind-up race car race to the finish in any of the race levels. Well, I'll be damned. Okay, so the ports and the re-releases. Yeah, the car editor in October 1999. Acclaimed released the Revolt car editor, which allowed players to export and edit or create new cars for the PC version using a 3D Studio. The editor was simply discovered in the Acclaim Studios London office, and was released as unimproved and unsupported piece of code. Wow, so looks like that fucking add-on did not age well, right? The Xbox version called Revolt Live was in development with a very limited beta version distributed to closed beta testers. This stripped-down version of Revolt was issued to be beta testers of the Xbox Live service prior to the launch of the service on the original Xbox system, but much to the disappointment of fans. A more complete version was never released on the Microsoft console. The full game was cancelled close to being finished. Even though it was not officially released, the full development version is available and can be played on a modified Xbox that is capable of running games from a storage device. Damn. Looks like the physical version of Revolt Live for the Xbox did not came through, huh? Okay, in September 2004, a modified version of Revolt was released for the arcade machines by Konami Visual Technologies. This port of the game featured a few changes in gameplay and graphics. It ran on Microsoft Windows 98 and came in 2 versions: the Sumo Standard Non-Motion Sit-Down Revolt and a Deluxe model. Similar to the Dreamcast's version, time trial mode, and many other arcade racers, there is a global timer. This version also featured additional tracks, among those the fan-made Venice by Gabor and a new track created by Kurt Arnland, an ex-Konami employee. I wonder if there's any Revolt arcade machines everywhere. Alright, then July 2010, WeGo Interactive Company Limited, located in Seoul, South Korea, purchased an all IP related with Revolt, RC Revenge Pro and RC To Go, developed and owned by Taito, the Toronto-based Throwback Entertainment, And 2 years later, in July, Revolt was announced for iOS and Android mobile platforms. It was released for iOS and Revolt Classic in October. An Android version of the game was released in April 24th, 2013 to the Korean T Store and later to the Google Play Store. Oh, that's great. And the PC re-release was on October 3rd, 2013. Revolt was re-released through the digital distribution on GOG.com. The release was based on the community-developed 1.2 beta patch with additional support for the original CD tracks as MP3 files. The game was pulled on request for the developers of the 1.2 beta patch in January 2014 due to a misunderstanding with publishers WeGo Interactive, in which the company used parts of the code written by the community without due consent. Following the disclosure of WeGo Interactive, the rights to the title transitioned to a new company called Super Day Incorporated, which is made up of ex-WeGo staff. Their Korean publisher H2 Interactive, the PC version was relisted on the GOG.com in April 2022, which reverted the game back to the original 1.0 version of the game. This version of the game was released on Steam on July 29th, 2022, which also includes Steam Workshop. Well, I see. Okay, a sequel, RC Revenge, was released in 2000 for both two of the PlayStation versions. It was also known as Revolt 2. Okay, although Acclaim has been defunct in 2004 after Legends of Wrestling 3, fans continued to support and extended the game by producing fan-made vehicles and courses. By operating multiplayer servers, fans have created an open-source cross-platform in chat lobby client called RV House that allows players to connect and play online. This platform is directly interconnected to the website Revolt Race, archived in February 5th, 2023 at the Wayback Machine, in which, among other features, a monthly set of tracks is chosen to serve as the base for time. Additionally, more recently, the community has set up a Discord channel that serves as a major hub to talk about the game, host, advertise, and join races, share content and mods, or even help develop new tools and updates for the game, which latest iteration consists of RVGL, a cross-platform rewrite port of Revolt's source code that runs natively on both Windows and Linux. While new players may have experienced a significant learning curve, the community remains active with records of fastest laps and new courses and cars still being added. The fanbase have gone to maintain the PC version with alpha and beta updates. The game was also ported by the fan community to multiple platforms such as Linux, Mac, Android, Odroid, and Open Pandora, based on the available source code. Okay, finally we can get over the reception. The PC and Dreamcast versions received favorable reviews, and the Nintendo 64 version and the Revolt Classic received mixed reviews, while the PlayStation version received unfavorable ones. According to the review aggregation websites, Game Rankings and Metacritic, Mark Clarson of Computer Gaming World praised the PC version's graphics and environments, and the realistic RC-like handling, although he noted that the in-game map editor was poor. Vincent Lopez of IGN praised the same PC version's graphics, the gameplay and interface, but criticized the game's techno music and track editor. Rick Sanchez of Next Gen's September 1999 issue called the same PC version a fun romp, but if it had taken its toy inspiration over the top, this could have been excellent. An issue later, however, Jeremy Williams said, "Those with a bit of patience will find Acclaim's Revolt to be a very accurate little RC simulator and a rewarding game." 5 issues after that second review, Greg Orlando said of the Dreamcast version, "An excellent, albeit light-hearted racing game. Revolt is best experienced with a group." In Japan, where the PlayStation version was ported for the release on January 6, 2000, followed by the Dreamcast version on July 13th. Famitsu gave it a score of 30 out of 40 for the latter, 23 out of 40 for the former. Alright, Nick McElveen, sorry about that, of Computer Game Strategy Plus gave the PC version 4 stars of 5, saying, "Although steering wheels and joysticks work well with the Revolt, console racing nostalgists will quickly conclude that the gamepad is the most effective controller. Unfortunately, given Revolt's addictive gameplay, this may portend the return for remission of thousands of cases of Nintendo Thumb." Brad Cook of Allgame gave the same PC version 3 stars out of 5, saying, "While Revolt is a beauty to look at, it will unfortunately tax any but the biggest and the best PCs out there." However, he gave the Dreamcast version 2.5 stars out of 5, saying, "The developers of Acclaim Studios London probably thought they were on the right track when they decided to make the game adhere to the laws of physics in every mode of play, but they weren't. I would have preferred an arcade mode that was just for fun and simulation mode that required better attention to the physics. If they could have set the game up that way, it probably could be on its way to classic status right now, instead of barging a bin nominee." Scott McCall gave the Nintendo 64 2 stars out of 5, saying it was missing the most important ingredient of any game: fun. And let's see, the frame rate is terrible, the environments are too large for measly cars, and pickups don't increase the intensity level. The search continues for a spiritual successor to the RC Pro-Am, Avoid. Yeah, Avoid. Okay. Yeah, I see those reviews of Revolt for 4 versions have good reviews, and mostly the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 versions have mediocre and mixed up reviews. Mediocre and reviews that don't age well. Well, to be honest, I never played Revolt on PlayStation before. Well, let's take a good look at the good listen to the soundtrack. The Revolt soundtrack just sounded out of this world. And so, in other words, it's fucking great. Well, I have the PlayStation, and even though the Revolt PlayStation version sounded that much of a fail, but I'm going to give that version a shot anyhow, nevertheless. So in conclusion, I recommend Revolt on any console. By the meaning of any console, I'm talking about mostly the Dreamcast and the PC versions. As for the N64 and PS1 versions, well, it's up to you, because they do have limitations after all. And I gotta say, the RC video game is one of the best ones I have ever heard. And I really wish that this game would be released on the GameCube, PlayStation 2, yeah, and especially the fucking Xbox. But who am I kidding? Well, there's nothing that we could do about it but to live with the console versions that had anything to do with the Revolt. Alright, peeps, that's it, I gotta say. If you don't like this game, opinion tolerated.